All yours.
Are we ready?
Yes.
Okay, welcome to the Finance and Performance meeting for the 29th of May, 2025. Councillor Shalin will read the print.
Almighty God, as members of the Rangitikei District Council, we give thanks for all those good things of our district and the advantages we enjoy. We pray that you will give us wisdom and guidance as we conduct the affairs of this meeting. We pray for all the communities in the district we represent. Help us to be fair and honest in our discussions and help us to work together in unity for the welfare of your people. Amen.
Thank you, Councillor. Therefore, apologies. It's apology from Councillor Wilson and Councillor Dalgety. Someone to move it. Councillor Wilson, a seconder. Councillor Shalin, thank you.
Right.
Mary, all in favour? Against? No public forum have been indicated. Conflict of interest declarations, if anybody has got the conflict of interest, please declare it now or when the item comes up. Confirmation of order of business, there's been no change I've been notified of. Confirmation of minutes, the minutes have been circulated on the website. So do we have any items coming from the minutes? Okay, page 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No comments? I'll move it then. Okay, someone to move the minutes as a true and accurate record of the. Thank you, Worship, and second by Councillor Loudon. You. Follow-up action? Oh, all in favour? All right. Against? Carried. It's quite deep here, sorry. That's fine. Sorry. Yeah. Follow-up actions. Do we have any comments on the follow-up actions on page, what is this? Page 13. Okay.
In fact, we're happy to take any questions if there's any clarification needed other than what's in the status comments.
Thank you. No comments? You move that, anyone?
Yeah.
I do. Mover. Thank you, Councillor Darling, and second by Councillor Loudon. All in favour? And against? Carried. Chair's report has been circulated. I won't read it. It's been, everyone's got a copy of it. Items of it that are relative to our meeting will be brought up. I think you wouldn't think that needs to be. Does anyone have any questions of the chair's report? I have been received. Okay. Councillor Carter. Seconder. Councillor Loudon, thank you. And all in favour? Against? Carried, thank you. Reports of information. First one, finance snapshot. Who we have?
Good morning. Lorraine's going to take us through that shortly. I just want to reflect that in the final page of the snapshot, there's a capital program which I'll talk through at the end of this report. Other than that, I'll hand to Lorraine to take you through it.
Thank you.
Kia ora koutou, Mr. Chairman. Financial snapshot. Not a lot changed in this one, but a couple of things of note. The total revenue and expenditure, as you see, the revenue is slightly down, but that's a timing issue around NZTA payments. The total expenditure is running to budget, that's great. The other thing I was just going to mention was the debt level is unchanged. Our external debt level is still sitting at 49,000. Oh, million, sorry.
Wish it was.
Pretty good.
Yeah. But we do expect marginal increase on that by the year end. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions? You wish it?
Treasury's just announced its position. Is that an opportunity for buying us out of some of our interest position going forward?
Through the chair, I will talk with our expert, Miles, because I want to make sure there's not a cost if we were we've got to weigh up the cost between that and the renewal of loans as they come through. So we'll follow that up with him. We turn to him for good guidance on that.
But on today's market, what would our interest rate be?
Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't done that work, so I can't answer that. Because there would be a cost of breaking those
Yeah,
tranches.
absolutely. But probably significantly less than 5.39.
We've got a few, well, we've got one there at low, but I will check that. We've got a couple at low under the five still. So we've only got 1, 2, 3, 4 above 5% of our tranches. The other thing that I wanted to touch on, if I may, through the chair, is the capital program. So what we've been trying to do, working with the relevant GMs, and I'm just trying to find the page 31. What we've tried to do is explain the capital program, because year to date we've spent just under 33% of our total planned annual program. We know that there's work that won't be happening. We know that there's work that we have been working on to put into the annual plan for next year and the subsequent year as we phase the work across. So we're projecting that we'll end up with around 21 million spend this year, not the 52, nearly 53 million.
Yeah, there's several issues here. The first is, you're absolutely right. We're not going to be able to physically spend that amount of money, and there's reprogramming. Separate to that is a process that I've always said that council needs to consider its CapEx work as a unit rather than individual programs without understanding the financial position of council going forward. So I'd asked for a review of our major significant CapEx programs as to whether, and there are several options here. One option, for instance, is individually tick all the boxes and say each one of these individual things is going to go ahead as planned. The second option is that council can say, we defer this position on a particular CapEx program to the new council coming in. That is an option. Or you could say that you intend to not do some of those programs, and even something that is in the LTP, you still have the right to say no. And that's not clearly understood by a number of councillors and potentially some of the staff. That just because it is signalled within the LTP, there are still options in which you can say no. We have a very significant CapEx program going forward. And I'm not saying this with any prejudged position, but it needs to be an active decision by council on our major CapEx programs.
Thank you. Any further comments on the capital?
Can I make a comment?
Yes,
So
sure.
His Worship has raised this with me, and I have discussed this with the ELT. And what we intend to do is bring a report back on each of the CapEx items as part of the deliberations report on the 5th of June, so that you do have an opportunity to see and be reminded of what the full CapEx program looks like. And you'll have each ELT member there to discuss where we're at with each of the projects, where they've begun, where they may have not been started yet, and then a level of confidence around whether we can achieve what has been set out, in particular in the LTP. So we will be doing that work next week. Just mindful that we get the right process with this.
Thank you. Councillor Loudon.
On my time here, there's been a lot of capital projects pushed forward and this council's approved a lot of work to be done. What are the reasons why we're falling behind? Is it too much work? Are we spread too thin?
I think there will be a number of reasons within each of the CAPEX programs, and we can provide that detail as part of the discussion next week. Some of them will be around consenting for our big water projects, and some of them are that we've started and they're just not progressing as quickly as possible due to a number of factors, or they've been phased incorrectly, and Leanne has been working on that as well. So do you want to make a further comment on that?
I'm mindful that His Worship would like to make a comment on it.
Yeah, I think through the chair, the chief executive is absolutely right. So some of it is literally being able to go through compliance in terms of consenting. And some of that consenting can be deliberately slowed because we're uncertain of what Te Mata Arawai standards will be. So that opens up a series of different options for very extensive capital work. So some of that is delayed, but delayed almost deliberately because the situation of the government is so unsure. Some of it will also be dependent on possible relationships with other councils as to whether we can combine or pump waste, those sorts of things. But I think people have to also be aware that we're not the only council in this position. This is a very common issue, and it is a significant issue for New Zealand, and it has routinely been raised by audit quite correctly. But that's the way of it. But we've been probably too optimistic in terms of some of the timeframes to get through community consultations, to get through consenting options, and then to be able to say, are we going to be actually physically able to afford it? And then finally, contractors are able to staff it.
Mr. Benelli.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, it's a really good question, and I think worth a discussion. It's a complex situation for us as staff looking at a 10-year plan, because you got to plan the way you think it might turn out, and you need to be certain that there's money available in those budgets and approved through the LTP to be able to do that. But quite often, 2 or 3 years down the line, there's so much uncertainty of exactly how that's going to work. But we have to put money in the budget. So as the program moves on, it becomes clearer, it becomes more certain, but far out, it's always difficult. And in this particular instance with CAPEX, it's the big items would be the buildings. Now, I can imagine the uncertainty in a building process to get approvals from the user groups, to get approvals from council. We're never completely certain as to how that's going to work, but we know it'll be in the first 3 years. So it's kind of a mixture of doing a bit of crystal ball gazing and being sure that we can afford it through an LTP process. And that's why it kind of moves the way it does.
I think it's also worthwhile to note, Councillor, that you have a series of unplanned expenditures that come in every single year. And for instance, we've had to put in extra treatment processes in the last year into Mangaweka and Hunterville. That comes at a considerable cost. The same sort of costs came in for Taihape for a pipe that was literally undiscovered. That cost us the thick end of 6 million there. So there are all of these additional costs that hit our budgets hard. And
you're just further to that, and Portorino was another one, but further to that, when those things happen, staff's attention has to be diverted to the most urgent issue. And so some of the others do get a lag behind, and that's just the nature of the complexity of the business that we're in. Yeah.
This has come up at our access infrastructure meeting, so none of us should be unfamiliar with this. Is there anything in particular, Councillor, that you wish to change, perhaps
And I was just trying to get just trying to expand our understanding of why. I understand that it's a multiple level issue, and there is a difficulty with consent processes, so that's external. There's a difficulty with public consultation because that takes time, and it's a moving feast the whole time. So I'm very understanding of the fact that the capital program is,
Of course.
a struggle, but I just wanted to. I'm pleased you are reviewing that process and trying to get some real understanding of what we can do. And I acknowledge Mayor Watson's sort of comment regarding, do we sort of concentrate on 2 or 3 and then put some aside? Look at that concept.
But on the other hand, as Mr. Bernardi said, we need to allow the finances for those projects in case they're working in parallel. So hence it is nature of your worship.
Yeah, I think the real risk is that an individual project comes in front of council and you say yes or no without an understanding of the overall financial position of the organisation and all of the other CapEx programs. Because if you make your decision on the first one independently to the rest, and suddenly the most important one is at the end, you're in a bind, really. And certainly the government will be looking very closely at CapEx programs. The reports will come out in June, late June, around Capital's government's review or DIA's review of council performances, etc., including CapEx works.
Your worship, does the sort of divergence from the capital expenditure program affect us badly in the audits?
Through the chair, if I can respond to that, not really. We sometimes get a bit of a reminder that we haven't spent well, but I'd just like to add that our actual year that we're in budget was actually 36.6. We carried across 16, and that raised it to 52. So Audit New Zealand will actually look at the 36, not at the 16. What we've done, where you see in blue at the bottom of that table, 24.4 million for annual plan. It's not for all for next year. We will spread that over 2 years, because what we don't want to do is exactly what we've done this year, brought in 16 million and added it to the already big budget of 36. We want to try and phase that. So I've been working with the relevant GMs to phase that a bit better for the next 2 years.
Thank you.
Well, it's related in some way. Just going back to the total revenue, I was concerned that total revenue was below the line for the last 6 months, and there's only 2 months to go in the financial year. The suggestion is, well, and the comment from finance is that that's because of the NZTA delays. Are we going to make our revenue budgeted by the end of June?
Through the chair, and that's probably more of a Mr. Bernardi response, because a big chunk of that is around the low cost, low risk of where we're spending. We've spent most of that, but the other roading bits, it's timing. So we do the capital work, then we put in the claim. And so we should, by the end of June, see the bulk of that come through. At this stage, we don't have any high alerts that make us concerned when we meet with the GM and other managers. But
Thank you, sir. Worship.
I mean, this is a worthwhile conversation in itself, but one of the problems with roading, for instance, is that we have some budgets available, but that they may not be funded under the FAR rate. So we could spend money. We're in a situation where we could spend all of that available money, but not get a subsidy, and that would be a dangerous situation for us to get into. We took on significant funding options within roading, unsubsidised.
Thank you. Bernardi, would you want to add something to that?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think Leanne answered that really well. And there's nothing for us that raises a flag that makes us feel that there would be a problem with those claims.
Thank you.
And through the chair, there may have also been, off the top of my head, revenue in there for the rail hub. That's not going ahead, so you'll see that revenue obviously won't happen, but equally nor will the capital spend. But they sit in 2 different worlds. You have one sitting up in your P&L and one sitting below the line in the capital. So that's where it doesn't always show the relationship.
Thank you. I'll just point out on page 18, 5.4, the years to end reports for the cost benefit analysis of Treasury Advisory Services. That was something that a number of councillors were concerned about at the last finance meeting. So it's great to have, great to see. Page 28.1, the balanced budget says it's less than 100%, but on your page 21, you've got a 102%. Could you enlighten on that, please?
Page
20.
Page
Yeah,
22.
comments 8.1. Says the balanced budget is likely to end below 100% at year end.
Correct.
But then on the next page, you've got balanced budget ratio at 102% sustainability. Are there two different things, or?
It's two different covenants, isn't it? The 102 is we've got more revenue. So through the chair at this moment in time, we've got more revenue than OPEX, so operating expenditure. But at the end of the year, if you think back to our long-term plan, we've got, I think, the first 5 years where we are not in a balanced budget position, and that's around depreciation.
Yeah, thank you. Any more questions? We'll move on to. Move on this. Your worship, second. Councillor Carter, thank you. All in favour?
Thanks.
Against? Moves. Thank you. Carried.
Sorry to the board. I know that you've closed not to receive, but I just had one little wee further. In terms of fleet management, we're very near the end of the year. We're well under, which is great. But the department's urgently needing, have we got a whole line of vehicles in line for purchase?
And through the chair, they have been ordered, but we can't reflect the expenditure until they arrive and are under our responsibility.
And they will be invoiced out of this financial year.
No, there'll be a component. If we don't get it all in, we will then have to apply for that to be carried forward, because that will be ordered and we will be committed to spending it.
Because there's the thick end of $500,000 sitting in that space,
Correct.
which is quite significant in itself.
We're still struggling at times to get the vehicles we need, and that's where we get. So we've ordered them, and we're reliant on the suppliers to be able to supply them. So we meet with the manager, and they're signed off by the GM of that relevant area for the vehicles we need. They are ordered. I touch base with our fleet manager regularly, but there will be a carry forward because we will have the commitment where we've actually given a purchase order out. So we have to honour that.
Sorry, Mr. Chair.
On stay there, Carol's next.
Next, fee waiver, page 32. Who will take us through this?
Yeah.
If you want to, Rhian, I think it's pretty
Yeah,
self-explanatory.
I was going to say,
to be honest.
I'll take the report as
Yeah,
read.
if there's any questions, myself or Leanne can provide further answers.
Any questions, your worship?
I'd just like to flag that for the incoming new council, that one of the things they should be looking at is the level of delegation with regard to this. Because I think $2,000 delegation is under today's terms. You're starting to deal with council having to deal with rats and mice stuff a little bit. I don't know, I'd be interested in the chief executive's view.
Yes, I think we've made huge inroads from what we used to have, but I think it is becoming apparent that this level could potentially be reconsidered by council to be higher. And we are doing a review of the delegation policy, so we'll bring that through so council consider then what might be an appropriate level from there.
Yeah.
So continue, worship.
I think it's appropriate because I think otherwise there's a whole lot of sort of personal stuff that gets embedded into these sorts of conversations that is unnecessary to go in front of full council, to be honest. Either that or you set it up in such a way that the delegation to the chief executive remains, but there's a greater level of delegation with a sign-off process from either the chair of finance or mayor. There's another way of doing it, and I just flag it that it should be looked at.
Yeah, so it is part of that review that we're undertaking. So once we get over the annual plan work and some of the water work, that's next on.
It's on my agenda.
Okay. Do we need a mover to receive it? To receive it, move it to receive it. Receive councillor Allen, second, councillor Carter. Thank you. All in favour? Yes. Carried. QV report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. QV report, this is our regular monthly report from QV. No major changes, so unless there are questions, any questions?
Any questions for QV report?
So,
Oh, your worship.
Yeah, because we're approaching the end of the financial year, are there a whole series of houses that are waiting for sign off and preferring their sign off to be July?
Through the chair, I can respond to that, and there could well be. Unfortunately, we do not have that control. And if they're not signed off, we cannot rate them in a new year. But what I can assure you is all the ones that have been signed off have been through QV, and we will include them, and that will go right up till 30 June. I can't control outside of that.
Yeah, but we haven't got a whole lot sitting in process that have been completed, ready for sign off.
I can't answer that because we in finance wouldn't see that.
Is that a question for anyone else? Action?
No, some of it is literally about awareness, because tactically, if I was building a brand new home, I wouldn't want sign off at the end of June. I'd delay it until July.
What I can tell you as our rates officer, Cheryl is incredibly diligent at watching this side of things, and she does chase up when she thinks there might be some unnecessary delay, because we do get a couple of months reporting that we receive from our GM and the team, so she does keep an eye on that.
Thank you.
We've got any further comment from compliance coming?
No.
No, thank you. Councillor.
You may have a reflection with that, with the building consents in tow there, where there's an understanding of whether they're small building consents for fireboxes or whether they're housing consents. So having an understanding of what those consents are over the year, you'll have a picture of what's about to be completed possibly as a new building.
Councillor Elgin. Any more comments?
Certainly.
Thank you. Any seconder? Councillor Calvin, thank you. All in favour?
That was us.
Aye. Carried. Thank you. Statement of service provision. Harris. Thank you.
Thank you. I will take the report mostly as read, but I'd like to take a moment to just recognise a few highlights that we've got throughout the reporting. So you may remember at within our 6 month reporting, a number of our playgrounds weren't up to the New Zealand standards, but since then we've now completed some maintenance and happy to report that now they all 100% comply. Our community hubs have been doing some great work, and they continue to hold quite a number of diverse programs throughout the year. And also highlighted is our building consents and resource consents, all have been processed within statutory timeframes this year. Happy to take any questions.
Just on the playground thing, I was on the Huntable School Board in charge of assets and things, and they forever changed the rules around them. Is that still a happening thing? Like you're running to stand still with these playground requirements?
It's probably not something I can answer. Pass it over.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It is quite complex when it comes to playgrounds. We do make sure that we keep up to play with any changes, and then we've got externals quite often to come and audit and be sure that it complies. It's something we really got to pay attention to, but it's quite tricky.
So nothing's changed?
No, nothing's changed.
Thank you. Councillor.
Just regarding the footpaths, and I see that the condition is assessed it looks like every 3 years. Is that the case?
Yes, they're not assessed every year. So we've got they're due to be assessed again in the next financial year.
Okay, so does that mean that the council relies upon requests for service if there's a complaint or someone falls over? Is that a reactive process, or can we be a bit more proactive in that space? I've just had 2 people recently that have complained to me with broken arms and things.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, it is. This is one of those ones that are quite tricky. So we have to put in our activity management plan to NZTA to apply for funding. It's a 3-year. That's a 3-year block, so it's set for the 3 years.
Yeah.
During the 3 years, we still do the assessments to the new program for the next 3-year block. Footpaths are very tricky. We have a lot of them and very little money, so we have to be sure that we prioritise correctly and do the ones in most urgent need first, and that's how we roll it out.
If I may add to that, they go around and they walk the street and mark the faults. I've seen them doing it in the spray paint. The previous years, they've been taking a big chamfer or a big taper off the high ones. This season, they only took a little chamfer off the very corner of the lifts, which really didn't eliminate the problem. Is there a reason for that?
Oh, I wouldn't be across that kind of detail. I wouldn't be across that kind of detail, but we can ask. Yeah.
What I would ask is if the survey has been done, people literally walking the streets, that they should also be providing feedback on the overhanging foliage, because so many requests that we get about that, and they become RFSs, but that's one of the significant yearly effects that come to my office.
Thank you.
Yeah, can I just make one comment?
Sure.
I think it's worth just making a comment about page 43 in terms of the not achieved in the roading space. We have made a comment there that obviously the current contract finishes at the end of June, and we just want to give assurance that the new contractor has worked with us on performance measures and reporting and a whole raft of measures that Anna and I have been involved with in developing with Downer. So we would expect to see this massively improved from 1 July. If we just make that statement.
Thank you. Councillor Carter.
The next page, page 44, regarding the turbidity of the water. Should just use clarification instead of that. We had to look it up, see what it was. Is there being something done in respect to having your samples cleared, because this is quite a common fault in the research of the water monitoring?
So just to be clear, Councillor Carter, are you referring to the E. coli and protozoa compliance?
I am referring to the water supply. And the second red dot across to your right hand side there, it's regarding the clarity of the water. Not clear enough for sampling, and you missed out 6 days, 22 days in February and 15 days in March.
Yeah, Through you, Mr. Chair. So this is discussed in a lot more detail at assets infrastructure, but what that is because we have a lot of surface water takes, the rule says that if the turbidity of the water is above a certain level, then we assume that the UV is not doing its job or can't do its job. Every time it rains, all of those surface takes go above the turbidity level. If you're above the level for 3 minutes, you're not compliant for the year. And that's, so we discussed that quite a lot at assets infrastructure, that it is really challenging for us with so many surface water takes. What is important though, we still test the networks and the supply, and the water is always within the limits. It's always safe to drink. We just can't comply with the rules.
This is one measure that we cannot
Very good.
physically achieve. But DIA still want us to measure it this way, knowing that we can't achieve
There's
it.
no repercussions.
There is, so we have to report to Taumata Arawai if we go over any of these limits, and we have to describe the situation and what's happened. So that's
The water's too dirty, get it cleaned.
it's challenging for us in our water tanks.
Thank you.
Your worship.
Just go back one on road and in terms of page, is it 42? The road maintenance, 6% or more, we do 3.4. But I just want councillors to be absolutely aware that the roading maintenance target, and not very long ago, was in excess of 13% of the network per year. And NZTA absolutely accepts that at 6%, the roads will continue to deteriorate. We're behind the eight ball.
Councillor Loudon.
Just on that 13% target, was that a target set by council or was it a target set by NZTA?
NZTA.
Just further to the roading, Mr. Gordon, the changes due to the roading contract changing, has that been communicated through the various departments to the public, and is that something that has been controversial, or has there been many reports asking as to why these have not met targets?
No, I haven't been made aware of any.
Thank you. That's loud.
Page 51, just the community housing flats have failed, that failed. What was the reason for the failure that required full renovations?
I'll try and answer that, I'm afraid.
Mr. Chair, unfortunately, Galen is not present today, but we can collect the information and share it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll move it to receive this report, please. Councillor Loudon, second, Councillor Carter. Aye. All opposed? Favor? Aye. Against? Carried. Public feedback? Forward? Yeah, who will take us through that? Oh, right, thank you.
Morena Cosgrove, nice to see you all. I take the report as read. Couple of comments. We've made some really big decisions in April, which makes our job really interesting. On the whole, really positive feedback across the board, I would say. As always, April was also the month that we went out for consultation with Annual Planning Co. As always, as a cost of living crisis, there's concerns across the board about rising rates, but I would like to note that our communications around the fact that their rates increase was originally at 9.9% as indicated in the LTP, and then was decreased to 9.1 was well received, obviously. Other than that, happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Any questions of the folks? Councillor Loudon.
Just curious about communications. There's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. There's the council website. I'm of a age that email is where I get most of my information, or the website. I've been made aware of several councils that email out weekly reports to everybody on the email list, and those emails, newsletters are funded by sponsors and things like that. Is that a possibility that we look at that as another form of communication, because there's a lot of people like you in our area?
Absolutely. I think 100%, as you said, different demographics respond to different communications channels.
Yeah.
We have a fortnightly, it's called Rangitiko Connect, that goes in the district monitor, and that gets emailed out as an electronic direct mail, which is kind of what you're talking about. But absolutely, we could sort of bolster that with either a weekly update, which has similar information to what we're including across our other communications channels. That would just be provided on capacity constraints. But on the whole, if you're not on the emailing list and you don't receive the emails from us, then I will make sure that 100% happens.
Thank you. So you need to actively say, I want to be on that email list to get the email?
Yes. Yeah, just for privacy reasons. Yeah.
Says what we're on that list, so we can check that. Okay, no, it's been going for a good part of 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, I don't receive it, so.
Okay, so it is called
I need to
Connect.
know what's going
At the
on.
moment, it definitely is fortnightly, but we would have to have a discussion about whether that's reviewed and increased in frequency. But fortnightly, it is quite a big list of people that it goes out to.
That's good, then, thank you.
Did you have other ideas how the email list could be expanded, councillor?
I was just going to suggest that maybe you put that out on the Connect monitor, for example, that the service is available if you want your email to be invaded by council. Please make contact with us.
So I take it that's on the website that it's available.
Yes, it is.
Thank you. So, thank you. Thank you, councillor. Any other questions? Yes, councillor
It's
Charlotte.
nice to see that Te Merapihi, you've got the best toilets in New Zealand.
Oh, come on, Hunnable got a good shout out here.
I think councillor Charlotte, you're mistaken. The Megawika one has got.
Oh, sorry.
No
I haven't
comment.
got any glasses on.
So you need to visit the north area and see what standards are right. Captain, do we should.
I'm not going to comment on that.
The toilet wars. He's not here to make his comments about the restrooms. Standards.
Yeah, it prompted a thought. This is slightly off topic, but as everyone's aware, the national drinking tap water competition's on at the moment. Have we entered a bottle in that, have we?
We're not in the top 4. I heard it on the radio.
Yeah, we're not.
Maybe next year.
Benadi, have you got any comments? Difficult point of view.
Surely they've got a division for us.
Again, maybe the northern
Also raised.
water would be a contender. No other comments? Can we have a mover for this report be received, please? Councillor Alvin and move second by councillor Carter. Thank you. All in favour? Against? Carried.
You want to close the meeting?
Do I need to move it or not?
No.
Let's declare the meeting closed at 10:18. Thank you. Thank you all for your attendance. Thank you all for your.